All right. Now this video is going to be more on the teaching English in Japan and some more of the problems that you're going to run into that you're going to see. It's more than likely you're going to see, like 90% chance you're going to see this when you get to Japan. If you still want to, despite everything I said, if you still want to come to Japan because you think it's some magical place and you're going to see anime characters everywhere, go for it. And, because you're going to do what you want to do. But I'm just letting you know what you're going to see once you get here. Based on my experience, based on the experience of other people I talk to, other ALTs and all that stuff. Because like I said, if you come out here to teach English, you're not really an English teacher. You're an assistant English teacher, which is actually very stupid. If you go to any other country, or no, if even in the United States, or you learn any other language, right? It's usually going to be a 90%, 99 out of 100. It's going to be a person from that country that's teaching the language. You know, so if I learn Chinese, it's gonna be a Chinese person teaching me Chinese. If I learn French, it's gonna be a French person teaching me French. Like when I was in college, I was learning French. It was a French woman that was teaching me, teaching a class. In high school, I was learning German. It was a German woman teaching the class. That makes too much sense, right? Well, in Japan, that doesn't make sense. So Japan is at, like, as far as English proficiency, out of 130 countries, Japan is ranked 92, and they've been trying to learn English longer than most of the other countries in developing nations. In some third world countries, developing nations, and even developed nations, they probably been like learning English the most, and they still bad at it. They still terrible at it because they got Japanese people who don't even know the language teaching the class. Like, I just realized that one guy, the guy I don't like, I spoke about him in previous videos. The creepy JTE guy. I kind of picked up that this dude really don't understand what I be saying. I mean, he can talk, but I think his understanding is like really lacking. And I'm like, you teaching English? Like, it's just so. That's why I guess they try to make you look bad, because they know that they suck. Most Japanese English teachers suck. Not all of them, but most of them do. Now that's 99 out of 100 probably do, and they really don't understand it that well. So anyway, I don't want to ramble on too much about this, but yeah, like, Japan is behind. They have to catch up because English, Japanese ain't the international language of anything. I mean, Japanese is a useless language. Outside Japan, it's no good. It's not going to do you any good. It's probably in rare instances it might help in some way, but most of the time it's not going to do you any good. You have to know English. Like, English is the international language for business and economics, for science and technology, for international communication, and I mentioned this before, for aviation and maritime trade, or dealing with anything in the ocean and ships and stuff. English is the international language. So it's, of course, it behooves the Japanese educational system to push English on the students. But what they don't want to do is they don't want to have foreigners that actually know the language teaching the language. They want to have a Japanese person who doesn't know the language teaching English, and that's, you're going to see this, and it's backwards. And another thing is, the only thing you doing as an ALT, you like a clown. You only saying a few words. You're gonna sing a stupid song that nobody sings, but Japanese people probably think people is popular in the West. Like, what's that guy named John Denver? I'm like, I don't even. Maybe some of you guys listen to John. I don't know. I didn't. I mean, I probably heard his name before, but I don't know nothing about his stupid song. I mean, I don't want to call it stupid, but I mean, that's not. Come on, you know. So, anyway, it's like like I said before, and I probably keep repeating myself, but the people that's teaching the kids the language and don't know the language, and the Japanese kids can always revert to Japanese when they don't understand something. It doesn't like really force them to remember or retain any English, because they're speaking to a Japanese person that's speaking to them and teaching them in Japanese. This is the stupidest thing ever, and they're never going to correct it. So anyway, one thing that you will see is that JTE is getting their own way. Like, sometimes when I am trying to, get through to a student or something like that, then a Japanese person will sometimes come up and start talking to me about something unrelated. Like, I don't know what that. I don't want to go too much into that. The person that does it, I like him. He's a cool guy. But sometimes I'm like, dude, I'm trying to teach the kids. Like, but it gets, it's like, I don't know. It's just, the best way I can say it is, you'll see it when you get here. Like, Japanese JTEs, they get in their own way. And Japan is highly, frighteningly ignorant of entertainment in the outside world. if you talk about any sport, and if it's not a Japanese athlete in that sport, they don't know nothing about it. Like, they don't know anything about any other. Like, it's some Japanese. I think it's a few in the NBA, and they only know those Japanese people. They only know them. It's like as if that's a one man team. You know what I'm saying? And the Japanese person is not in the Hall of Fame. Probably not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but you know, that's all they're gonna know. Or Otani Shohei, that's the only reason why they know baseball in the United States. I don't know what these people think. It's like when it comes to musicians and stuff, they totally don't know nothing. Like I get it. I don't know any Japanese musicians and stuff like that, but a quick Google search. It's like Japan has Google and they can just Google search things, but China knows more about like pop culture in the United States than what Japan does, even though Japan doesn't have a great firewall. Crazy. Um, and another thing too, one reason, I mean, some Japanese teachers are good. Nothing bad against them, but you just gonna see this. A lot of Japanese teachers have no style when it comes to teaching. Like they have no style. It's just like a robot almost. And I sometimes see them trying to copy my style and stuff. You know, um, and then another thing you'll see is it's like too much guesswork. Like when it goes into lesson planning, you got to think you're going to be planning a lesson with a person that doesn't know the language themselves, that barely knows it, you know? So it's going to be a whole lot of blank spots where you be like, well, do you want this or this? And they just going to nod their head at you like this. And you're like, huh? Like, like this or this. And you can see they kind of getting stressed out because you ask them legit questions and they can't answer it. So it's just like, okay, I'm just like, all right, we'll wing it whenever we get to the class and stuff. But then once you get to the class, it's going to be a total freaking botch. It's just like, it just goes upside down, like immediately. I don't know what's up with this. I think because of Japan's fear of the outside world or a culture coming in and replacing their culture or something like that, it's like they have this collective resistance to anything from the outside looking good in Japan. You see, it's like, so if it's an entertainer which a lot of them are, that's better than a Japanese entertainer, they're not going to want that here because they feel like that's going to take away from the Japanese entertainers because they can't compete really. And the same thing with the English teachers, a person, if they feel that you're competent, they're going to try to sabotage you in some way. Not all the time. Like I don't get this from women. I tell you, I'm just telling you the truth. I don't get it from women. And maybe it's I know one guy who, had a saboteur who was a JTE, that was a female. But in my experience, I don't get it from women. I usually get it from men. Men, they're gonna try to sabotage you in some way because you making them look incompetent, like they really don't know the language. They kind of don't. Not all of them. Some of them do, but even the ones that do, they still see you as a threat. So it's like they look at you as a competition or something like that. So I guess if you're a female and you're working with a Japanese female teacher, then you might get thrown under. But you might not. I'm just telling you what I've seen and heard from other ALTs and stuff like that. And if you still want to come here because you are that obsessed with anime, when you can just watch it back in your home country, or you can go to another place that'll pay you more, you work less hours. You can go somewhere else and still watch a little anime. But I don't know. I'm just dropping this information. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, but I just want to put it out there. Like, Japan is definitely probably gonna fall lower on on the international list of English proficiency. Their economy probably gonna tank more, mostly probably because of the birth rate, things like that, but also because of again, their xenophobia, highly xenophobia of everything. That's gonna cause problems, and they're just going into atrophy. It's just like they're just atrophying as a nation. Like Japanese is not the international language of anything, and it won't be. It's a difficult language to learn, and it's not. I mean, you got to think it's more difficult than Chinese. I thought Chinese was the most difficult language, but Japanese is way more difficult because it's some things that don't make sense. It's highly contextual. Yeah, it's how it has a lot to do with context and stuff like that. So it's like, but they're the only ones that do. Anyway, I'm just gonna leave it there. But if you still want to come, despite that, on your own head, be it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Like, if you do teach in another country like Vietnam, China, Thailand, to name a few, and you have you teaching with another person, that person will be your assistant. Whereas in Japan, you're the assistant, even though you know the language. In other countries, they have a little more common sense, and they have you as the main teacher. And then if they do have another, like a local in that classroom, that local is works as an assistant to you. But of course, here people, I mean, are the ESL system here is wearing his shoes on his head and it wears his hat on his feet. So backwards.